My sister having an imaginary friend was cute until it wasn't. The teacher knew from the look on my face I had forgotten my homework again. "What's your excuse this time, Toby?" she asked. "I'm sorry, miss, I left it on the kitchen table. I'll have it tomorrow, I promise." She had heard it many times before. It was the same old song and dance, and no matter what I said, it didn't stop me from getting detention. When I got home, my mother was waiting for me. The school had already phoned her, and I knew by the look on her face I was in big trouble. This is the third time this month the school rang me. "I'm sorry, Mom. I did leave my homework at home. Miss Henchley is just out to get me." She sent me to my room after she told me I was grounded for the week. I hated being grounded because all I had was my sister Cindy to talk to. Mrs. Henchley gave me detention again. I hate her. "I wish somebody would teach her a lesson," I explained to Cindy. Cindy looked at me with a big smile on her face. "I can ask my friend to help you. Millie is great and does everything I ask her to do." My sister was annoying, but I found it cute that she had an imaginary friend. Later, I was jolted from my sleep, and Cindy was sitting by the dressing table with her back turned to me. "Get back to bed, Cindy. It's late. If Mom finds you out of bed, I'll get in trouble." I hated sharing a room with my sister, who slept on the top bunk. When my dad died, we had to move to a smaller house. My mom said it was temporary, but it's been 2 years now, and I am still stuck in a tiny room with her. When I woke the following morning, my sister was already downstairs. I walked over to the dresser and picked up a drawing my sister must have drawn. My sister's drawings were usually cute. She likes unicorns and fairies, but this one was disturbing. It depicted a woman lying on the floor next to a busted-up car, and she had red stuff coming from her head. I arrived at school that day to find Miss Henchley wasn't behind her desk. Instead, we had a substitute teacher who told us she was filling in after Miss Henchley was involved in a terrible car accident. It was then I remembered the picture Cindy had drawn. It was just a coincidence, I was sure of it, but I couldn't help feeling guilty. Either way, I wished this on her. The only upside to Miss Henley's accident was not having to do detention and go home. On the way home, I bumped into Damian Morsley. He was on my case all year, and every time he saw me, he gave me a beating, and this time was no different. When I got home all bloody and bruised, I went straight to my room. I didn't want my mother to make a big deal about it. I didn't want to give Damian more reason to hate me. "What happened to you?" my sister asked as she stepped into the room. "Nothing happened to me," I said as I scolded my sister for asking too many questions. "Was it that mean kid Damian again?" she asked in a concerned tone. "Yes, but you can't say anything to Mom. She will go ballistic." My sister looked at me again with that mischievous smile. "Don't worry, Millie will fix him." The next morning, I woke to find another drawing left on the dresser. This picture was even more disturbing than the last. It showed a kid lying on the floor with what appeared to be a knife sticking from his stomach and a man standing over him. For the first time, I was hoping Damian was in class, but there was no sign of him. As the day went on, rumors started spreading that Damian's father was arrested for doing something terrible to him. On the way home, I decided to take a detour past his house. I was shocked to find his house surrounded by police tape and people in white suits in the garden. A kid on a bike was standing across from the house, and when I asked him what happened, he confirmed my biggest fear, that Damian was murdered by his father. It couldn't be. I refused to believe it, but it happening twice was too much of a coincidence. I ran home and called Cindy up to the bedroom. "Cindy, you need to stop this imaginary friend business. I don't know how you are doing it, but people are getting hurt," I shouted. I could see the tears well up in her eyes. "But Millie is real. She is not imaginary. You wait and see," she said as she broke down crying before running out of the room. That night I fell asleep feeling guilty about shouting at my sister. I tossed and turned from a restless sleep before I was jolted awake. My sister was sitting at the dresser again, so I shouted at her to get back into bed, but she ignored me and kept on drawing. "Who are you talking to?" said a voice from above me. Startled, I turned to see my sister still in her bed, but when I turned back, the girl at the dressing table was gone. I walk over to the dresser only to find another drawing. I picked it up and a feeling of dread crept up my spine as I looked at the drawing. It was a picture of someone impaled on spikes with blood pouring from them at the bottom of a canyon. I feel the blood drain from my body. Tomorrow is our annual school trip to the Grand Canyon.